What is up, everyone? This is the Leafs Convo podcast, face-to-face. Norm in London, Ontario. Mike in Buffalo, New York. Are you really in Buffalo, Mike? Because rumor has it you're really in Albany. Good evening.
I wouldn't want to be that close to Andrew Cuomo. So no,
okay, we'll call it Syracuse. The combo presented proudly by Oak Ridge Ford in London, Ontario, oakridgeford.com. The Leafs a 2-1 winner over the Jets last night. That's 5 of 6 wins. They've put together 6 victories in their past 10. Still first in the Scotia North. All sorts of stuff happening around the team, but at the center of it all, one Jack Campbell, who made 31 stops against the Winnipeggers, to go to 8-0 on this impressive season for him. But why do I feel like it's still tenuous at best?
Well, because it is. I mean, the goaltending situation is in flux right now. I mean, starting with Campbell, he's played great, but every game there's a little sign of him sort of tweaking an injury, which he's dealt with and has been dealing with since January. Remember, he shut out, I think it was his first game, and then didn't play for almost a month, and then shut out Edmonton, and then he hurt himself in that game, and then he was out for a couple weeks, and he came back. And I mean, it's, and in almost every game, he has made a save where looks like he's coming up lame, and he did last night in the third period where he made this unbelievable sprawling left pad save on Adam Lowry, and then sort of, winced a little bit or favored his left leg, and then skated to the Leaf bench and stayed in the game and played well the rest of the way. But that just illustrates the instability right now of the Leaf goaltending, because we don't know what's going on with Freddie Andersen. The report this week from Sheldon Keefe said that Andersen had seen a specialist and that his injury, whatever it is, quote, progressing well, unquote. But we don't know if that means he's going to be on his way to 100% or he's going to be on his way to be able to play, but not at 100%. I mean, everything is sort of shrouded in mystery. And that's the thing with the deadline coming up in a little over a week. Kyle Dubas is probably going to need to know, and Elliot Friedman reported this, that they're going to have to make a determination on Andersen and what's going on with him by probably Wednesday or Thursday, because if they don't know for sure that he's going to be healthy to return at some point, then they're going to probably have to go out and get a goaltender, and that would sort of upend Dubas's plans of going out and acquiring a top 6 or top 9 forward. They can't do both things unless they trade salary off the roster, and I don't think they want to do that.
We're going day to day here, Mike Augello, and in a season where there's so much uncertainty, yet we realize the Leafs' general capability. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's just par for the course at a time like this, or if we're just going to have to buckle up and hope for the best.
Well, I can use the example of the Colorado Avalanche last year as a sort of an illustration of what could happen, because once April 12th passes, then it's only the goaltenders that you have in your system. And the Avalanche went into the playoffs last year. And remember, obviously, there was the long layoff from March until July. So the deadline had already passed. But they went into the playoffs with Philip Grubauer as their number 1 and Pavel Francouz as their number 2. Both got injured in the playoffs. And in Game 7 of the second round of the playoffs, they started Michael Hutchinson. So the Leafs, they can't put themselves in that situation, because right now they can do something in the next 8 days to address their goaltending if they think that they're not going to have healthy goaltending going forward. And that's the thing, is Campbell right now, I mean, he's playing, he's battling, he's playing great, he's undefeated, but we don't know that if he's going to make one save and then tweak something, and then he's out for a month, and then you have Michael Hutchinson and Joseph Wall as your two, or Vini Vihalainen as your 2 goaltenders. So, I mean, really, if there's any question, I think Dubas is going to have to trade for a goaltender. And I did hear a list of names. Obviously the either Antti Ranta or Darcy Kemper in Arizona might be good options, but Kemper's got a year left in his contract, and he's expensive, and he's going to be expensive in terms of what you'd have to trade for him. And the one I like the most is Linus Ullmark from the Sabres, who has a .918 save percentage with the pitiful Sabres in front of him. So, but again, that's probably going to cost him a second-round pick at least. And, you don't really know what you have with Ullmark because he's never played a playoff game. So, I mean, it's really an uncertain situation, and Dubas is going to have to sort of find his way through it in the next few days.
We'd like to celebrate the Leafs' position in the standings, 51 points. That's among the best in the league. 24 wins in 37 games, 121 goals for, a plus 28 goals for and against differential. I'd like to see that a little bit higher, but beggars can't be choosers always. Yet here we are, focused on what really is a volatile goaltending situation. Even if Freddie Andersen gets a clean bill of health and feels like he's reset his mind and is ready to go, this fan base may not want him back.
Well, I mean, with Campbell 8-0 and on a run right now at this point, and remember, it's only 8 games, but you remember Andrew Hammond in Ottawa a few years ago, where he went on a run where he was like 22-1 or something ridiculous like that, and they absolutely had to ride him, meaning play him every game or every game possible. From the middle of the season, whenever he started, to the end of the season, he got Ottawa in the playoffs, and then I think he started game 1 and then ended up getting supplanted by Craig Andersen. But they had to go with a hot hand. So, if Campbell is playing as well as he is and he's winning games, they're not going to take him out, even if Freddie Andersen is healthy. But the question is, when game 1 of the first round of the playoffs starts, who do they go to? Right? I mean, because of Campbell, they're in a situation now where, they could go to Campbell, they could go to Andersen, and they're questioning, there's going to be questioning either way.
Yeah. Neither goaltender, Campbell nor Andersen, is durable. Campbell, he's not a China doll, but this is a guy who's been plagued by injuries for most of his career. Freddie Andersen, on the other hand, has been, relatively stable physically, but has had his bouts of, difficulty accepting the situation and, either becoming exhausted with what's going on, with the lack of defense around him, or just for no reason other than, the game of hockey creeping up on him, just his play going into the toilet. So neither one of these goaltenders can be relied upon. That's why I think the best scenario would be both of these guys healthy, both of them buying in, both of them excited to create a tandem that could backstop this team to the next level. But right now, Mike, there's still uncertainty, and it's coming to a precipice with Kyle Dubas having to make decisions. I wanted to refer to our Leafs Convo poll before you continue. I asked, can the Leafs win the Stanley Cup this season with Campbell and Andersen, and in parentheses, Hutchinson? 130 votes, 36% say absolutely, 13% say absolutely not, 51% believe maybe, and that's where I'm at. Without any resolution to this, and a complete overhaul between the pipes, bringing in bona fide, Conn Smythe type goaltenders. Yeah. This may be what we have to endure, and it may blow up in our faces.
Well, I mean, finding, like you said, a Conn Smythe trophy, that's not happening. It's impossible. I mean, if you want to trade for Jonathan Quick, fine. He's got 2 years left in his contract, and his Conn Smythe trophies are 6 years in the past, or 7 years in the past. That's not happening. In terms of this, I mean, it all sounds good that can they win with Campbell and Andersen? Well, that's if they have Campbell and Andersen. The whole situation right now is that Dubas doesn't know who he's going to have.
Mm-hmm.
He may have Andersen and Campbell on April 13th after the deadline, and then the next game one of them tears a groin, which is always possible with anything after the deadline. Somebody can get hurt, and you can't do anything about it. But right now they can do something about it, and they need to find out for sure, or at least to the best of their ability, to find out whether these goaltenders can get through, or at least Andersen can come back and be at a high level. Now, this is the thing. Andersen came back early because Campbell got hurt. Andersen was playing at less than 100%. He played terribly. His save percentage was under 900. That Andersen clearly is not an Andersen that is capable of being a backstop to win this team games. So they need him to be at a higher level than he was when he came back on March the 3rd. And that is the big question. And if they can't find out for sure, Andersen's got a vested interest here. He's up for contract at the end of this year. He wants to get in there. He wants to be able to play, and by playing well, earn a new deal either with the Leafs or somebody else.
Yeah.
But he's going to say, I want in, because he wants to play, but he may not be 100%. He may just try to tough it through. And if that happens, then I think the Leafs are at a disadvantage.
This is the Leafs Convo podcast, face-to-face on StreamYard, YouTube, live right now. It's kind of a sneak show, Mike. Usually we're doing our thing Sunday mornings, but why not do it now? Get it out there. We can talk about Freddie v. Campbell, the goalies versus health ad nauseum, and then we'll let the OGs and converts run with it over the next 24 hours, 36 hours or so. And then, of course, there's a Leafs Flames on Sunday night.
Yeah, 9 o'clock Sunday night.
That should be great. The Leafs haven't played the Flames in about a week.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, the Easter Sunday night special. Now, Sheldon Keefe came out this afternoon. First of all, Campbell did not practice.
Yeah.
They said
again, they're just being extremely cautious with the guy. He's not even going to back up Hutchinson.
That may be the case. That was the last time when Hutchinson will start tomorrow, and Vihalainen will be the backup more than likely. So they're basically giving Campbell 2 full days off so he can play against Calgary on Monday. And then I believe they play on Wednesday against, I think, Montreal. So more than likely, you're going to have Campbell play that game. So, when I looked at the schedule, they have 3 back-to-backs in April, which means at least 3 starts for Michael Hutchinson. They've got a 4-point lead over Winnipeg right now for first in the North. And if it gets, I don't know how much it means to win the first place, because there's not going to be fans in the stand, but still, yeah.
The banner unveiling, it's going to be awesome. They won the division. Whoa.
Yeah, zippity doodah.
Zippity doodah. OG's Converts, thanks for being with us, all 4 of you. Alino Prespis, love the sneak show, fellas. Just for you, Alino. I'll give you 2 names I'd like to see the Leafs pursue: Connor Garland and Scott Laughton.
Well, Connor Garland has been mentioned previously. He is somebody who is making less than $1 million against the cap. He's a restricted free agent after this season, and he's going to make big money. He's the leading goal scorer and leading point guy for the Arizona Coyotes. There is a lot of indications that they're going to possibly trade him, because they're missing so many draft picks because of the situation with them being penalized because of the cheating scandal, the testing scandal, and they traded draft picks to get Taylor Hall. So they may trade a guy like Garland for draft picks and prospects, but they're in the race right now. They're still in the race for a playoff spot. So it's unknown whether they will actually trade Garland now or maybe trade him before the draft. Laughton is an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. He is I heard Elliot Friedman talk about him on 31 Thoughts this week, and he compared Laughton in terms of acquiring him to a guy like Barclay Goodrow last year for Tampa Bay. But I talked to some people in Philadelphia, and they basically say they don't think that Philly is going to trade him, that they want to re-sign him. So that probably means they keep him. But Philadelphia is in a tenuous situation too, because they're relatively close to a playoff spot, but I don't think they're realistically, they're going to stay in the playoff race, but they may not want to give up on it yet.
What can the Leafs do to augment the defensive forward, the rest of the group, when the focal point right now is still up in the air? It's going well, but history will tell you or indicate that it's not going to go well forever for Jack Campbell, unfortunately, because that's the kind of luck he's had.
Right.
And with Freddie Andersen, the fan base may have lost faith in him. I'm sure his teammates haven't, but has he lost faith in himself? Not to keep going back here, Mike.
Yeah, but it's a factor. It's definitely a factor in the direction that Kyle Dubas goes in the next 7 to 8 days. Because, again, depending on Anderson's status, they have to go out and get a goaltender. If they think Anderson's going to be back at some time in the next month, then they will ride the Campbell wave and then hope that Andersen comes back and have both of them available for the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But then Dubas will switch his focus most likely on a top 6 or top 9 forward. I mean, I don't see that. The funny thing is, in the last week or so, the hottest team in the league has been the Nashville Predators. So you probably scratch off the Michael Granlund possibility. But maybe a guy like Nick Foligno opens up, or Taylor Hall, or other names out there, Kyle Palmieri. I mean, there are options out there in terms of forwards.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not the capologist. I don't know how the Leafs fit a Taylor Hall at $8 million. The Sabres would probably have to retain salary, and the Leafs would have to trade salary to make the deal work. And I don't know if it's worth it. Because Hall's been a disaster in Buffalo, but that's
he's just MVP 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
3 years ago. But
No, I hear you, Mike. Geez, I got a brain cramp. Just real quick. The thing is, what are if everything was perfect, the goaltending was great, and the Leafs are doing their thing. Sure, the power play sucks shit. It is what it is. They haven't scored a goal with a man advantage since 1986. Built or Lego scored the last power play goal for the Maple Leafs. But here's the thing. What do? Do you bring in a guy just to chip in and help out because this team's almost there, or is it a cherry on top kind of scenario? Sure, if you could fit him in under the cap and it made financial sense, sure, a Taylor Hall would come in and you could bombard the opposition, and I'm sure he's completely motivated to do something. But again, it's a move for the sake of making a move. I don't think it's for the sake of making a move. The Leafs won't say this. This is my personal opinion, but I think the concern here is, the wear and tear on Simmons and Thornton, and to a lesser extent Spezza, but mostly Thornton, because both of them have been hurt so far this year. Simmons is not playing at the level that he did before he was getting injured, but I think he'll get back to that with time. Yeah. Thornton is, as somebody said in the chat, Thornton is slowed down a little bit. I still think he's effective. I like that fourth line with him and Kerfoot and Spezza, but I think that the reason that they're looking at trying to bring in a top 6 or top 9 forward is insurance against one of those players getting hurt, or Alex Galchenyuk regressing to what Alex Galchenyuk has been in the past. He's played great. He's played great right now with the league. Is it smoke and mirrors, or is it reality? So after April 12th, you can't do anything about it. And I think that that's the mindset of Dubas, is that they need to add a forward because maybe the depth is not as much there. I think the depth is more there at forward than it is on defense. Justin Hall this afternoon didn't skate at practice. They said it was just a maintenance day and he's fine. They've had the same starting 6 since Mikael Bettman was traded, and I keep saying it. That's where the Leafs should be looking. How do you augment and slightly, even if you can, upgrade the defensive group, because you brought up Justin Hall. He's been terrific, and he's fitting in wonderfully. He's molding into a real legitimate bona fide partner for someone, a long-term NHLer. That's great. But, the ice time and the rigors are going to catch up to him. Who takes his place if he gets injured or any of those other guys get injured?
Well,
your buddy.
Yeah, Marty franchise, and that is the big scary scenario. Is that somebody gets hurt, and freaking Martin Marincin, who is a pylon,
so there you have
gets walked around. I mean, ideally I think they have confidence that they can bring Rasmus Sandin into the lineup, and maybe even Rasmus Sandin would be playing better than Travis Dermott right now. But Rasmus Sandin hasn't played since the beginning of January.
He's your go-to to win a cup. Like, don't you bring in
right? But they can't. They might see, the thing is, they might not be able to afford that defense. Like, they can sure go out and trade for David Savard, but that would probably be a first-round pick. I don't know if they want to do that. If they could get themselves, I think what they're looking for is a veteran 6'7" defenseman that gives them a buffer between them having to play Marty Marincin. And because Marty Marincin is a disaster.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much the forward group needs to be augmented with another guy who has the same skill set and isn't much better. But you're right. When it comes to the defensive core, the more the merrier, because the expectation is someone's going to go down. And with that group being a little more concise, one of a missing piece is much more glaring. All of this said, Mike, the goaltending situation is still extremely concerning, despite Jack Campbell playing so well. And I think he could carry the day, but the feeling is he's going to get injured at some point. And can they rely on the former incumbent? Who knows? I just want to give a couple of shout outs to the people, OG's converts, who are in the chat with us. Cal Morale, I'm reading Doug Gilmore's book, finished chapter 2. Sweet. Tell us a little bit more, Cal. Disco Dick, Glendening is a good fourth line center with an edge. Good penalty killer. Jumbo Joe has to sit. He does nothing.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree that he does nothing. I mean, his impact has been decreased over the last few weeks. I still think he can do things, but I mean, Glendening, we dealt with this with. I mean, yes, he's a good penalty killer. They don't think they need a fourth line center. The fourth line center right now is either Spezza or Kerfoot. That's fine with Engvall playing third line center. Yes, he's a great face-off guy, but Spezza is a great face-off guy. So I don't think that Glendening is the direction that they want to go in terms of a forward. They want somebody who can score. They want somebody who can play in their top 9. Glendening is a fourth line guy. So I don't think that's, and he's going to cost because he's making, I think, $1.8 million. He's a rental. Detroit probably wants draft picks for him. It's going to be a pricey acquisition. Whoever trades for Glendening. Probably a second or third round pick. And I don't think that's good value.
Do you think the brass ever gets to the conclusion that the goaltending situation is too tenuous to do anything of substance to improve the rest of the group?
Yeah, I mean that is the heart of the dilemma right now. I think that's why, like I said, Elliot Friedman reported that a decision will be made, or at certain point, Dubas has done his due diligence, calling around the league, finding out who's available in case he has to make a move. Well, he's going to have to, at a certain point, make the decision based on the reports he's getting back of. When Andersen will be available and how, I'm sure he knows how they're managing the Campbell situation, but he's got to know where Andersen is and what he will be at the end. And they can't find that out if it's undetermined that, they don't know what the status will be. Then I think he has to make a move for a goaltender, even though he probably doesn't want to.
OG's Converse, what say you? Does this team go for it regardless of how Campbell and Andersen are feeling and performing on any given day. And if Michael Hutchinson has to off-spell both of them because neither is capable of going, how do you feel about it all? I need a couple of favors from the OGs and converts as well. We have some videos on the channel that need some hits and some likes. Duo Debate, our most recent, as well as Big Deals. We're trying to get those videos over 1,000. The more hits we get, the more subscriptions we get, the more impact we have in terms of growth within the YouTube environment. The algorithm seems to pick us up a little bit more when our content is getting a little bit more of a push from you guys. So if you can do us a favor, that would be fantastic. Timberwolf, happy Easter to you. You look great in the Leafs Convo hoodie. In community, guys, you can see that. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, we need you to do that like ASAP. Maruf Lackey, and we haven't discussed the power play. We know it's terrible. Maruf Lackey, how do you fix the Leafs power play? Elino Prespis says that the Leafs just don't have a power play quarterback. We were talking before we went live about Morgan Riley and how he's entrenched. That's his spot, whether he has a bomb or not, and we know he doesn't. That's his spot. He's paid to be there. The Leafs, it's just going to have to start coming together at some point. And I don't know if it's just magically goals begin going in, or if maybe there's a reconfiguration down low.
Well, they've toyed with it. They've tinkered with it. They've moved around people. They put Tavares on the first power play. Then they put Simmons and Thornton on the first power play. They've moved things around. They've tried different zone entries on the power play. I mean, one of the consistent things, Morgan Riley is a great distributor of the puck. Nobody respects his point shot. And he used to be able to get the shot through, like even if it was a wrist shot, he used to be able to get the shot through. It doesn't seem like he's being able to do that. And even when you're trying to blast it, if you're getting the shot blocked and then it gets knocked out of the zone, that really neutralizes your power play. They're 0 for 26. They haven't scored a power play goal since March the 9th against Winnipeg. So, first of all, they don't draw a lot of penalties in the first place. They've had opportunities where they needed a power play goal to put the game away, or to, they had the power play in overtime 4-on-3, and they had some good chances, but Hellebuck stoned them blind. But, there are going to be games coming down the stretch where they're going to need a power play goal to win the game. And right now, I mean, the power play that was operating at almost a 40% clip and first in the league at the beginning of the year, that's a thing of the past. And, teams have adjusted to them, and now they're going to have to adjust back. And right now they're not having any hunting luck, but they're going to have to, because this team, the only team I can remember that had a terrible power play that won a Stanley Cup was the 2011 Bruins, with Thomas Caberlet as the point man on the power play. And I think they scored 3 power play goals in the entire playoffs. They can't do that. If they can't get the power play going, they're not going to be able to win. I think they'll be able to because there's too much talent there. But right now, they just seem snake bit, not a snake.
Interesting times ahead. The Leafs could be in a lot worse of a position than they are at this point. So just press on forward and keep your fingers crossed that the goalie situation stays relatively good, and someone's there to mind the net. Longest winning streaks in Leafs franchise history. Jack Campbell, Jan 16, 2021 to the present, 8 games. Does that sound right?
I don't know. I mean, the Leafs, remember, they won, I think it was 10 games at the beginning of the 93-94 season. I think Felix Potvin.
Yeah, nine in a row for Felix.
Yeah, so I don't think that
seems pretty meek and modest.
Yeah, and remember, these aren't 8 games in a row, because he had a month in between shutouts, but
sure.
8 starts, he's 8-0. I mean, I don't take anything away from Jack Campbell. He was absolutely fantastic in that game on Saturday, or excuse me, in that game on Friday. He stoned them blind in the first period when, we saw some giveaways by William Nylander in the first period, some giveaways from Mitch Marner in the third period. The only goal that was scored was on a Morgan Riley pinch that went wrong. So, even Sheldon Keefe said it wasn't a great game, but basically Campbell saved their bacon. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think they want to put less stress on him and have more of a low event game. We'll see if they can do that.
Hockey junkie Campbell reminds me a lot of Potvin. Wouldn't that be nice if he can go on a Felix Potvin kind of run, a la 92, 93? That would be amazing. Sheldon Keefe, how does a guy like that, a workman-like kind of player when he was in the league, obviously a player's coach, but he'll kick them in the ass when they have to be kicked. How does he relate to these guys and get them to stop giving away the puck so much? How does he connect with a Marner who's run ragged? Sometimes he just does things not because he's inept, but he's just trying to do too much. William Nylander, we talk about him being elite 1 minute and then not so elite the next. Is this a tactical issue with these guys? Is this them trying too hard? Is this them tuning out at inopportune times, giving away the puck and doing things that you would think they would be cognizant and aware of?
I don't think it's tuning out. I think it's the fact that these are players that are extremely talented, and I think the mindset is in the grand scheme of pluses and minuses, there'll be more pluses down the road, and they'll live with the giveaways. But the giveaways happen, at least on Friday. The giveaways happened early on, and if Campbell wasn't at his top, if Campbell was not at his top-notch best, they would have been down 2 or 3-0. They should have been down in that first period. Yeah. They were lucky to get out of it tied, and then they got the goal from Dermott to put them in the lead, and then Campbell saved them in the third period. So they're in those instances, they're depending on their goaltending to save them, and that's you don't see teams that win in the playoffs make errors like the ones that Nylander made in the first period, where he curls at the blue line just entering the zone and gives it away, and the 2-on-1 goes the other way, and it almost ended up in a goal. So I mean that's one instance, and and like I said, Marner had an instance in the third period that led to a long Winnipeg rally in the Leafs zone. I think Marner has done that less and less over the last few years, but he's not innocent either. So it's like they have to eliminate those things from their game, and I think they've done a good job in limiting them, but they haven't eliminated them.
Cal Morale in Community, it's not their year, and that may indeed be the case, Mike. For as good as we think the Maple Leafs are, and we know they can be, maybe this isn't their year. Time will tell. Will the components come together? Jay Culkin, Will 85, Joe Shedler, thank you very much for your participation in the chat. Just a few things. Rob Falcone, Super Coop, you guys have Leafs Convo hoodies coming to you. Dale Blanchard won our hoodie contest on Twitter last night. He tagged like 3 people, and he won a Leafs Convo hoodie courtesy of us and our friends at Talbot who made put those hoodies together and made them look so fantastic. I've got like a few left in the box. If anybody's interested, you can get at me. I'm going to do some more stuff like that going forward. I may have a few more giveaways as the days progress. Mike, any final thoughts? We've got to get out of here.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be very intrigued about the next week. I mean, leading up to the deadline. And one of the things I think that is going to be a factor is what will the other teams in the North do? We saw Montreal make their first move, getting Eric Stahl. They're going to get some of their injured players back before the end of the year. Sherratt, Toffoli, some of their other players, and Price seemed to stabilize it with the coaching change. Winnipeg is going to go out and probably get a defenseman, and they are a challenging team without a defenseman. Mm-hmm. So if they get themselves a top 4 guy like a Savard, or if Ekholm gets traded or whoever, they're going to be better. So the Leafs are probably going to have to respond in kind if the teams in their division upgrade, and it'll be very interesting to see what Kyle Dubas does.
about a week ago, we were concerned the Leafs may have met their match in the Jets, and they just swept them over the past two. The compete level is there. You could go either way with this team. Shout out to Michaela Garashi at the Leafs Convo 2 on Twitter. Guys, if you're on Twitter, please follow that account. She does a fantastic job pushing out our content literally by the hour, so that means a lot to us. Your participation in this project is just key. I need some likes, we need some views, and we need you to share what we do. You know, the Leafs Convo's here for you, and we will continue to be as our videos are received well. So we appreciate that, and let's just keep on going. Mike, thank you so much. Happy Easter to you. Happy Easter to all the OGs and the converts. Let's enjoy the Leafs Flames on Sunday, and we'll get back at it here real soon. Take it easy, guys.
Thanks, Norm.